Hey, this is Stephen Amell, and you are listening to Tomorrow's Legends, the podcast. Don't fail your city.
Humans have reached a point of stagnation, and the next step in evolution is upon us. Telepathy, telekinesis, teleportation. These are the powers of the Tomorrow people, and they are about to break out. Join Flash, Harley, and X-Force 11 as they jump to a new story of heroes to follow their fight against a corrupt government who wants to hunt them down. This is the Tomorrow People, as brought to you by Tomorrow's Legends.
Hello, breakouts.
Knock, knock. I said, knock, knock.
Harley, X-Force, don't answer that. We're on the precipice of Death's Door, which happens to be the name of this 9th episode of the Tomorrow People. Quick, get behind something. I'm ducking for cover. The Flash over here.
I'm Harley Quinn.
And I'm back from my missions of hope. I'm X-Force 11.
Yeah, he's back to save us from whoever's at the door. I don't know what's going on. Yes. I haven't done a voice for a while, so I just wanted to pull that out of the hat.
I was not expecting that. That was fun.
Good stuff. Well, we got some news. Let's dive into the news section.
We interrupt this podcast for a special report.
Yes, indeed. It is all about Superman and Lois. So, is Superman and Lois starting season 4 with the death of Superman? So, we left Clark battling Doomsday on the moon, and we speculated that they were going to do the death of Superman storyline. Well, Superman, that's kind of how we're leaning, because Bitsy at the local Comic-Con, I think in Detroit past weekend, seemed to confirm this. She said, "You guys are not going to believe the first episode. It's bananas. It's emotional. What they did was based on one of the comics. It was a very bold decision on their part to do this and to pull it off in for the first episode of season 4. So it does sound like we may be getting the death of Superman to start off season 4.
But how can they address that in only 10 episodes? That's going to be crazy.
Unless they're doing a time jump, you've got episode 1. And then you've got a time jump, and then at the start of episode 2, they're give a however long later, and kind of give a summary of what's going on. I don't know. Yeah. It's a big storyline to pull off in 10 episodes. So yeah,
it's huge. So I trust the writers, but it's going to be really interesting to see how they try to fit that in. Time jump seems like the only answer, because you can't have them dead for a day. It's got to be something like that.
Yeah,
that's true. Okay. Do either of you recall off the top of your head how long he was dead for in the comics?
It was a while, because that's when they introduced the 3 or 4 supermen that replaced him, and
That's right.
Steel was one of them.
Steel was one.
So if they're bringing Steel back to be here for a few episodes, maybe that's his story. Maybe he gets to play Superman's replacement for a couple episodes.
Yeah, and they had Superboy in there too, which wasn't his son, but they definitely do that. So,
but they had the red and the blue Superman men, and they had Steel, and they had one other one. I can't remember who the other.
It's the cyber Superman that turned out to be the bad guy. Like a cybernetic. Yeah. So I don't know. They're doing their own take on everything, so could be cool.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited.
Yeah. So also at that con, she did say that all of the regulars from season 3 will appear in season 4, and they'll be in a couple episodes, 1 or 2 or 3, depending on their role. So we kind of have been hearing like such and such is going to be back and such is back, and we've seen on social media where they're filming and things like that. So it's pretty much confirmed that they're going to play parts in the 10 episode. I mean, they're not going to be in all 10. There won't be in, our normal regulars that we've got this season, but they'll be in some episodes. So it's not like they're totally dropping off the planet. So at least we'll have them, to kind of close out storylines. So
That's good.
That's good. Yeah, it just would feel better. They can't just write them off. Yeah, it would feel better. So that's good. That's very good news.
Especially Dylan Walsh's character.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it's like
kidnapped.
kidnapped and like, okay.
Yeah. We never found him. That's the end of that.
Yeah, death would have been a very easy out. Sad and not satisfying, but an easy out if the actor had insisted on not returning. But I'm glad they got him to come back.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, I'll throw in one more fun point just because you guys can see I'm petting little Cyber here on the side. So he's the namesake of the entire network, Cybercast Network. I just want to announce he turns 20 in 3 days.
Wow.
This little fella right here. So, and he he just got back from his annual checkup after you guys know the story of how sick he was and we almost lost him. He just had his annual checkup and everything is ticking along just great. He's in as perfect a health as he can be after everything he went through. So we're super happy here.
That's great.
Cyber Soul. Yeah.
That's good.
So there you go. And speaking of the network, Cybercast, just a quick reminder that there's many shows on here. You're listening to Tomorrow's Legends right now, which covered Legends of Tomorrow, Stargirl, Superman and Lois, and X-Men 97, and currently the Tomorrow People. There's also Dive into DC, that covers all things DC, and that's with Silvervox and Green Butterfly over there. And then you got The Mandalore, which is all Star Wars on Disney Plus, and sometimes some movies. So lots to check out on the network, so have a look there, and you'll see tons of stuff to listen to.
Yeah,
so much.
Yeah, Dive into DC just released their final ep on the Dead Boy Detective Season 1, and next up is Batman 1989. So gonna have to get in some feedback on that because it's a big anniversary for that. So
yeah. For how many years is it now? What's the anniversary it's celebrating?
I'm not good at math. 24 minus 90.
Wait, you just said 89, right?
Yeah.
40. No, not 40. 35.
35. Yeah.
I had to
35th anniversry. Yeah, I just
Yes. Yes. Well, guess who turns 40 this year? So that's why I had some quick math between 85 and 84.
Yeah.
You're going to be a real adult.
No. Yes. I don't know. I feel like I've actually earned the gray hair that is currently in my hair. So here we are.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, let's dive into this episode, which is episode 9, titled Death's Door. And we are on Tomorrow's Legends 290. We're hitting 300 soon, guys.
Ooh,
we're going to hit 300
crazy.
Covering Tomorrow People. That's insane.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. What are we doing for it? We'll have to talk.
We'll have to figure something out. I think I still owe the last time we did a celebration. There's two awards. I just haven't ordered anything to get made up, right? So we'll have to do a double.
Oh, no. Sorry to whoever won.
Yeah,
I don't even know who it was.
I have it written down here somewhere in all these sticky notes I got on the desk. I'll find it. We got a little bit of making up to do for sure.
Oh me.
Well, let's get into the episode though. Let's go with our ratings for Death's Door.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
All right, so I gave this one 8.5 Messiah complexes. So this episode brought a lot of revelations, and I appreciate how crafty Jed is in protecting those he cares about. I really liked Stephen bringing his family and his friends together. The whole quest of Stephen not taking no for an answer was powerful. And I'm not sure how they're going to do another 13 episodes. I mean, this felt like a penultimate episode. So, yeah, here they are continuing along, trucking right along, just adding new story points and things like that. But I'm looking forward to it. But I did knock it down a little bit because it felt a little too close to Neo and the Matrix, like y'all were talking about last episode with the plugs and things like that. Yeah. Well, really, it felt a whole lot like that too. Plus, the line Stephen was talking with Astrid about, we'll get to later, was lifted straight from Jesus. And so, as a Christian, that kind of didn't sit right with me. So, between those two things, I knocked it down half a point, but still a very good episode.
Well, and did you hear, Jeff, like just figured out last week that this was the holiday finale before their big break.
Yeah,
break.
I remember y'all saying that.
So that's probably why they put a lot into it. Last week and this week is just like, whoa, like they're throwing everything at this.
Yeah, because it went on a 6 to 8 week break after this episode. So.
Oh wow, yeah.
But then there's no more breaks after that in the original air schedule. Like the rest of the 13 would have aired week to week. So it's crazy. It's crazy to have a season that's so long with so few breaks. I was like, oh god, I don't even remember that era of TV anymore.
2013.
That just definitely wasn't CW now.
No. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No. Crazy. Well, I gave this episode 9 deceptions. There was definitely a lot going on in this episode. We got a lot of revelations that I didn't see coming. And all the people I thought might die this episode did not, and also vice versa. There's several people that died that I was not expecting. I was like, okay, this is a little crazy. So I'm definitely sad that they executed the actor who played Thanatos / Dr. Crick, but I guess there probably wasn't really much left for that character to do. He just kind of filled in some backstory, and that was pretty much it. So it kind of makes sense, but I was still kind of disappointed that they killed him off as opposed to letting him, I guess, relocate it to some unknown place. Who knows? But it's definitely cool to see more of the founder on the screen because he plays a really good villain. So I was really kind of digging all of that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely for sure. So I'm also giving it 9 changes in direction for the original holiday finale. Yeah. And holy man, there was a ton going on, like you said, but I felt like they kept it all in check. It was all flowing really well. It kept us on the edge of our seats. It was a pretty full episode with lots of drama, action, thrilling moments, comedy, and tense interactions. I was thoroughly entertained all the way through. And like you were saying, Harley, it went in directions that I didn't expect and obviously don't remember, and opposite of what you would have thought it would do. And that, to me, again, is just good writing. Not falling to the same old of most of the other CW shows that we've covered. So far this season, this one is not letting up in its pacing, and it's just continuing to surprise us. And I'm just really enjoying it, even all these years later.
Yep.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I am also enjoying.
Well, let's get into our talking points.
Gathered together from the cosmic reaches of the universe.
All right.
So a lot of this, this episode was really about Steven's quest. And so we get to see more of the founder, and we see that he is super powerful. The display of his powers were just really amazing. He's got the force chokes, he's got the TK shields, and he's got that confidence that John has no way of getting at him. And, Martin has compared the show to Star Wars. Well, the founder is giving real Sith Master vibes here.
Totally, eh? Man, that guy is sinister, just like Palpatine. And I do think after this episode, he truly could be the new bad guy that we need to be concerned with on this show. But that TK shield, as you called it, it was so awesome and so unexpected. That was my first holy F moment of this episode. There's quite a few where you went, whoa. And that was the first one, because the effects for it, you could kind of see it when they were trying to get through to it. You could see that there was a barrier there and a bit of an energy. It was so cool. It was well done. I really thought that was just neat. But I still want the answers to why he is out to get his own kind, because they haven't made that clear yet. And I wanted to ask you guys where your thoughts and theories are on that. Why does he want to get rid of all the Tomorrow people and basically be the only one? What do you guys think?
I don't know if I've fully formulated a theory as to why yet. I've kind of just like been absorbing the story, but he's definitely very keyed into Steven. So whatever his ulterior motive is, I don't know if it's amassing power or like supercharging everyone or finally cracking the whole stopping time thing. Because while we've seen how powerful he is, and that scene with John was just crazy. Like, I really loved watching all of that and that kind of like display of power and just his assurance. He's like, I forgot before you were born. Like, what are you gonna do to me? Like,
that was such a good line.
It was such a good line, and it was just crazy to see how much like his powers had evolved over time. So we also know that he's done something to himself, because he has, like, when he was explaining like the people last week with like the neck things, and then he said it like they had like, you know, specifically like made them that way to like boost their psychic energy or whatever. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to like boost himself in all the areas, and maybe he needs Steven for a very specific purpose, whether that's to get to Limbo himself or to learn how to stop time. I don't know. We haven't seen him able to do that yet. So I think that's kind of interesting. But as powerful as he is, he's not stopping time. So
yeah. For me, I think he is trying to maybe produce his own Tomorrow people, like ones that he can control, ones that don't have the barrier of, you know, not being able to kill. I think he is trying to eliminate these other ones because, you know, it's kind of polluting what he wants to do, and they're kind of the rogue faction. So I think I don't know if he's getting into genetics or anything like that, but it seems like he's got a bigger plan of how that's going to be. But he sees them as a threat to him and what he's doing. So like I said, I don't have a clear theory, but maybe he's trying to build his own like second generation of Tomorrow people or whatever that's is more evolved than that. So I don't know.
And what about, do you think he had the procedure done on himself so that he can kill people? Because he's force choking John here, but he doesn't kill him. So do we think he can go through with it and actually kill people?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Because
it's risky, because we've seen two people that it worked on, and John's okay, but the other person went over the edge. So, like, you got a 50. We don't know if there are other people that doesn't sound like a whole lot made it through, but like when you got a 50-50 chance and you're going to try that on yourself, I don't know.
And then also, like, I feel like he wouldn't need Jed if he could actually kill people. I feel like there's another reason other than Steven that he keeps Jed around.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there we go. We'll talk more about him as we go through the episode, but yeah, good early thoughts.
So the truth comes out, and Steven finds out that John killed his dad. We knew it was going to happen. But even knowing that fact, he keeps it back from the others, and he wants to break John out of the facility. So I thought that was a very interesting turn of, like, you just found out that this guy killed your dad, but you're still have the wherewithal to, like, we need to get him out. So, like, I thought that was very interesting and strong.
Well, here's my thoughts on that, X-Force. First of all, I'm glad that John confessed when he thought this might be his only chance. But what I think by now at this point of the show, Steven's been in Ultra for a while, and he sees how they operate, and he understands what Ultra is all about. He now knows the founder, he knows Jed, he sees their operations. So I think even though it's a gut punch that John's the one that killed his dad, I think in the back of his mind somewhere, he knows John wouldn't have done that by choice and was probably forced into it somehow by Ultra. He knows Ultra is that sneaky and that controlling that they probably made him do it. And I think that's in the back of his mind, which is why he was able to kind of push past the rawness of those emotions and still work on a plan to free John. I feel like that's what happened in that moment.
Yeah, that and the fact that like he doesn't want to break that news, because I mean, even if he's just the messenger, he's still bringing like completely like life-altering like news, because they all thought that Roger was alive and that's who they were going, to save, and that's who was going to save them and unite their people and like all of these things. And so, I mean, telling everybody that, I feel like that really should come from John, and I think Steven knew that too. Like, I mean, he's like, you need to stay around. Like, I'm not going to tell people about this. Like, you have to come clean. Like, you've led them on for years, thinking that someone you killed with your own hands was alive.
Yeah.
And, while seeing John come clean to Steven was heartbreaking, it was even more so with Steven and his hope for his dad and Thanatos, having to deal with that and the thinking on that. But I like the tough love that, he gives to John, and kind of, saying, listen, you've got to step up. You've got to tell them, you've got to, be there and be that leader. So,
well, exactly. I think he kind of understands that tough love is what works with John, because that's kind of how he was raised his whole life, right? Mm-hmm. Even with Jed and everything. So, but what I think Steven knows that he himself wasn't dreaming, and he feels like there's something there worth investigating, worth looking into, because that wasn't a dream. Me seeing my dad when I was unconscious means something, and I need to look into it, so I'm not going to give up. And the others, they never experienced that. They didn't see what he saw. They didn't feel what he felt. So it's hard for them to understand where he's coming from. I think if they got to see what he saw, then they would be totally on board with everything. But because it's kind of hard to imagine, like, no, you were like, how could you possibly see your dad? You were dying. Like, I think it's hard for them to swallow right now until they actually get to witness what he saw. It's just tough. So,
yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, it sounds crazy. It's definitely one of those things you have to almost like experience to believe. Like it's very unbelievable. Yeah. But I did really like Steven's convictions. He was like, no, this is how it is, and we are going to figure this out. So
yeah.
So the plan to get Steven out is to do a prisoner exchange. Oh. And so we have Russell and Kara going after Morgan. And again, Russell messes it up. But I'm not going to lie, I really enjoyed the Kara Morgan fight sequences. I thought it could be a little bit longer, but it was pretty cool to see the two of them go at it there.
Well, so. And look at the setting. They were on a mountainside, like a cliff's edge with treacherous pathways and rocks and trees. Like, what a crazy place to perform a stunt scene, like a fight sequence there. So it was really well done. And surprise, Morgan can fight too. I saw a couple of people mentioning, like, why is it all people with powers can fight? Well, think about where she came from. Like, she's in love with Jed. Jed trains all the Temor people. Of course he's going to train the woman he loves to protect herself. To me, it makes sense. Like, I'm not even questioning that, because she put up a pretty good fight against Kara. So, and I'm with you. It looked good. It was great.
Yeah, no, I agree. Or maybe she was like part of Ultra, and like, as he confesses to later, he got too close and quote inappropriate. So maybe that's where she got her fighting abilities, was she was initially on track to be an Ultra.
But if she was, the founder would know her.
Oh, that's a good point.
I feel like that's just a story Jed fed him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like he was out doing his stuff, found her, and then like realized like I've got to like hide her away and protect her, like so he didn't get to the point of like actually bringing her in. So I think that's where they're coming from. But
gotcha, that makes sense.
So Kara was pretty bold with proposing the prisoner exchange with Jed on his home turf when she knows the security he has. So I was like, okay, you want John back. It's serious, but still.
Well, but he ditched all his security because he was at Morgan's place.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was Morgan's apartment. You're right.
Oh, that's
Morgan's
true.
place.
I missed that. Yeah.
Yep.
Still.
So,
still
interesting.
I mean, it was bold.
Yeah.
But yeah, less risk of being exposed because she knew he would come alone.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't want to risk exposing Morgan.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Very true.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
And one point before I forget, in the scene with her fighting Morgan and the scene where she catches up to Jed, we were questioning, because I know a lot of our feedbackers have been asking throughout the season so far, is how the teleporters can chase each other. How do you know where that person teleported for you to be able to teleport to the same spot? And Kara gives us the answer in this fight sequence. Because she says, don't bother teleporting because I can track you. Wherever you go, I can track you. So just stop and listen to me or whatever. So she actually it's not a detailed answer, but she does tell us she can track. Wherever they teleport, she can track it. So we don't know how, but somehow they're able to follow and track the teleportation to be able to go exactly where they went. So I found that interesting.
That is interesting. I was just assuming she was referring to like the fact that she could still like psychically pinpoint her, but
maybe that's part of it.
Maybe that's part of it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the whole answer though, because it's not the first time we've seen someone jump and then them jump right behind them and end up at exactly the same place. So I think there's something to it where like if you're close enough, you can almost like see where they're going, so you can kind of continue to go with them. Like you can track them down.
There's got to be something that way know. So yeah.
But
aside from like the physical contact, like when Jed piggybacked.
Yeah.
Back to the subway.
Yeah.
So back at Ultra, we finally get to see Jed confront Steven about Kara. So he pulled up the video and he spotted the swap out of the drug. And Steven says he did it because he loves Kara. And then that's when Jed brings up Morgan and he's like, I can't free John, but you can. So interesting changes here.
So first off, that took me quite a few times to see exactly what Jed was seeing. I'm looking at the screen, what is he noticing that something changes? But it was the color of the vial going from green to clear. I mean, so easy to miss, but we know Jed is very observant, so of course he'd notice it after a few watches himself. But man, because nothing happens on the screen. There's not like a glitch. There's not anything that happens. It's just the color changes. Now that was pretty cool, but I couldn't spot it right away, so pretty neat. And then here's my next big holy F moment, is like you just hinted at, X-Force. Jed is slowly turning against Ultra, and saving Morgan is his breaking point to doing that. I loved the scene. It was almost my favorite one because I didn't see it coming that he was going to go against Ultra to work with Steven to save Morgan. I really did not see that twist coming. It's showing us that Jed is slowly changing. We're going to talk about it a little bit more later, but I think this was the initial beginning of him changing sides, is how I'm going to word it.
Now, see, that would be really interesting. And I don't know, like we'll have to see how that actually works out, because he does seem to be a little bit maybe disillusioned with the founder because of, you know, like later scenes that we're going to end up talking about. But I don't know. Is he fully switching sides? Is it all just for Morgan? I think they called it. I think they nailed it. Like the one thing that was going to break him was Morgan, and they kind of played that card. So I guess time will tell if he continues to start sympathizing with them and maybe go a little bit against Ultra.
Yeah. And we'll come around to that again too.
Yeah, and I think it being John plays a part too.
I think so.
It's the fact that it's a double whammy. It's like it's John and it's Morgan. So yeah, I think so.
Yep. The love of his life and his closest thing to a son.
Yeah. So we see Jed give John a goodbye kiss, and we're like, okay, what's going on?
Right.
But when we go back and revisit it, he's slipping him the remote for the restraints. And so when Steven comes in, John, keys it, and John uses Steven as a hostage, and they make it out.
Hence, I'm calling it the breakout. Haha. But that plan, which Jed ultimately conceived, was brilliant. He sets it all up, and I thought that whole sequence was exciting. A really good action sequence, because at first we thought he's just saying goodbye, and we don't see it until like 10 minutes later in the episode what actually really happened, because we see it in flashbacks. I think we talk about it later, but we just see him breaking out, and we're thinking, oh, what the hell? But we actually see how the whole thing got set up. But I love the whole scene. It was a great take. Steven as a hostage. All the stupid normal agents, of course, fall for it. Makes perfect sense, because none of them really think Steven is with the Tomorrow people. They all think he's on Ultra's side. So I think it actually worked really well, and it was a great fight sequence and a shootout. Everything that happened, it was just fun scene. Because everything up to this point has just been intense and dramatic and a lot of discussion, but then here's our action moment, and it just really whoa, okay, that was cool.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool, and it went a direction that I didn't see coming. I was expecting Jed to have set Steven up to stop time or do something else along those lines to help John disappear, but all he was kind of doing was just sort of setting Steven up to put this whole plan, this whole plan in motion. So I thought that was very cool. It was something I didn't see coming, and I really liked the reveal of it.
A lot, and that's what we talked about at the top of the show. So many direction changes.
Yes.
In this episode, and it just kept us on our toes. And what? It's going that way. Wow, and he's doing that. Holy! It just that's why I had so much fun with this one. A lot of unexpected stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was very good.
Talking about twists, so the prisoner exchange happens with a twist.
Yes.
And we actually see that Jed cares for Morgan. And he knows that she's safest with the breakouts, as we're calling them, because he can't know where she is because of the founder. He knows that his mind's going to get read. And I mean, this was wild to see him say, listen, you need to do this for me.
He's putting full trust into the people that he's been hunting and aren't quite sure of him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he understands that they are all about saving their kind, and they won't deny him. And he's been kind of, and this is what I'm talking about, like you were saying, once again, another shocking twist, but this time in the character story. Because who would have thought that Jed would soften up and change at this point? We've seen him be pretty sinister. We've been talking about him being one of the ultimate bad guys we've ever seen. Who saw this softness coming? And you look at his relationship with Steven. He's putting trust into Steven now. Hey, you break John out. I can't do it. Here's how I'm going to help you. They're developing a relationship now, this almost uncle and nephew relationship. And I need to ask, are we going to see Jed turn to their side going forward from here and actually help fight Ultra? Like, is that what we're starting to develop here?
I think that could be really interesting if it does go that way, but he again would have to be really careful because of like the founder and his abilities to very clearly like read his mind.
Oh.
I think Jed has, for again, scenes we're gonna talk about later, but I think Jed has to have some form of like defense, or at least maybe potentially like selective memory, for lack of a better way to put it, because he's able to put up, to remember enough, but it seems like certain key details like intent, or maybe like not like the memory of what actually happened versus the thought process to plan it. Does that make sense? So it seems like when they're being read, they can only access like the physical memory that they witnessed,
the visual memory.
Not the intentions or the thought process or the planning or any of the details, like the subtext, if you will.
I like that you made that distinction. It seems like they can only access the visual memory of what, and that's why he set it up. I'm going to set up this entire scene, make it look like this, and that's what he'll see. It's like he knows that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And and that'll come back again later, but specifically in the scene, he leans down to kiss him so he can cover the fact that he's not seeing himself put the key in John's hand. Yeah. And then John reacts the way that he does to cover up maybe like something to do with like the way that Jed whispered. That's another thing I think wouldn't be accessible from Jed's memory. And then the founder wasn't going after this scene, he's going after a later scene, but I still think what am I trying to say? The process, you know what I mean? It still applies.
Yeah, and so we're getting information on how it works in this universe, because in other media, when we have people reading minds, they are able to not just read that surface level visual memory. They're seeing intent and the deeper parts of it. Yeah. And so maybe the Tomorrow people aren't to that depth yet in their techniques and everything and things like that. So like there's workarounds because they know that they can't go as deep. So maybe in this universe it like causes too much mental trauma to a person if they go too deep, and so they're only doing that surface. I don't know.
Well, and going back to the idea of like, take Morgan away so I don't know where she is. Where have we seen that recently? I feel like that tactic was employed recently. I don't know if it was in a movie or another TV show, but there was some big storyline about, don't tell me, I don't want to know. If I don't know, they can't find out. And it's something very recent. I can't place it, but it reminded me of that. Whatever it is.
Yeah. I same thing, but I don't know.
Yeah. It felt familiar.
I think it's definitely been used before, but I can't think of an immediate one. But it's definitely you all handle this and do not tell me any of the details, because then it's like plausible deniability. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe it was in Loki. I don't know. It's just something very recent and really good was used. So yeah. Good stuff.
So back at the lair, Stephen and John are working together so that John is teleporting them and Stephen is trying to stop time while they're teleporting, but it's not working at all.
And I don't know what it is, but I love the powers and how they're displayed on this show. Watching them teleport over and over is cool. And I like that because John is best at teleporting. Out of all the Tomorrow people, he's the strongest teleporter they have. That's part of his powers that he's super, well trained at or practiced at. So he's focusing on the teleporting while Steven can focus on the time stopping because he's the only one that can do that. Mm-hmm. And I thought collaborating and working together, allowing you focus on the teleporting, I focus on the time stopping, let's do this together. It's just so dang cool. And I love the concept of all of that. Even the idea of, hey, while I'm teleporting in mid-jump, let's stop time. Where are we in that mid-jump part of the process? And that just blows my mind. Whoa. Who comes up with ideas like that? I've never seen that anywhere in any movie or TV show before, stopping time during a teleportation. It's so cool.
I agree. Yeah. It was very cool thing, but it was almost like a red herring because it's never going to work. So that was kind of interesting too.
Yeah.
But I liked the scene. I thought it was very cool. It was interesting to watch them do it. It's just like, again. It's like the opposite of how the scenes were towards the beginning. I don't remember if it was the pilot or maybe episode 2, where it was John, trying to train Steven, and he's like, again. So I liked that flipping.
Yeah.
Well, and I also liked when Kara kind of stops him for a moment, and Steven goes off and, goes and checks up something, and they have a little moment there, and Kara says, you don't have to do this. And John was like, yeah, I do. Like, he feels like he owes this to Steven, and he's not going to quit. So I really like that moment of John. John really feels bad about everything that's happened, everything that's done. So he feels, I have to do this. I owe this to Steven, and he's going to go until he collapses. It's just cool moments here for all the characters.
Which, of course, he can't yet tell Kara why.
Not at that moment, But
yeah. So we get a very cool couple scenes of Steven and his mom. So then the first scene, he is questioning his mom for any details about his dad, and you can see her visibly react when he mentions Thanatos, and he's reading her thoughts, and he's like, he knows and calls her out and says, you're lying. And then we see this scene of she's giving him all of his dad's research and stuff in a box, and like here it is, but be cautious, like this took your dad down a path, and it wasn't good for him, but I know I can't stop you. So it was 2 very powerful scenes that we had with mom there.
Yeah, and when we've been asking for mom to come back, she's been gone for a few episodes, so it was fun to get her back, and she gets a lot of screen time here, and I'm just happy about it because she always has great scenes. To me, she's probably the best mom character we've had in all the shows that we've covered. I mean, I hate to say it, but compare it to Stargirl's mom as an example. She was always poorly written, and we're always questioning, what kind of a mom lets her daughter go do all this? There's so much that we didn't like about the way the mom character is written on Stargirl. So when you compare it to this mom, she's fantastic, and she has great scenes, and she's keeping involved with Steven's life. She's giving him rules and boundaries to follow, and she's a great mom character. So I'm just really, really happy every time she comes around.
Yeah, no, I think she's a great character. I really like her for the same time, but I still think she knows more than she's letting on.
Me too.
Well, and that leads into my next
point. I remember some stuff, but I'm holding back.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
okay.
So
so we might be on the right track. Okay.
But on that thought, Harley, I'm wondering if Steven wants to dig deeper, or is he keeping himself from reading his mom too much? Because that's I don't want to know my mom's inner thoughts. I wonder what's going on there because they didn't really show us. They only showed us him reading that immediate emotional reaction, and she's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Why are you lying to me?"
I think that was done intentionally. I think you're right. I think he's trying to hone his abilities and not intentionally listen to other people's thoughts. But in that moment, he needed to know what she knew.
Yeah.
So
and I also think he's trying to build that relationship with her of wanting the information and wanting her to share, and getting her to share verbally without going in, and because he's got to have it at the back of his mind that sometimes he's got to tell his mom. And I think if he can not go rummaging through her mind and have that come back to haunt him later. I think that's because he really wants that relationship to be genuine and not to have to go pull stuff out, on his own. So,
yeah, very true. And you know what this reminded me of? Like him finally getting the box of stuff from his dad, and his dad disappeared, and he's going to go through it. It totally reminded me of the Spider-Man movies, because Peter Parker finally got the box of his parents' stuff, his dad's stuff, that Aunt May gave to him so he could look into his dad's research and science and all that. So it was like, oh, cool. It's very, very similar stuff there. Yeah. So they're drawing on a lot of cool stuff and then giving their own twist to it. So it's pretty cool.
So we knew it was coming, but the founder confronts Jed about John. But instead of really talking about John, he comes clean about Morgan. So I thought this was quite an interesting twist. I was like, what?
Again, another twist. Like, this episode just kept throwing them at us. It's so crazy. And my head almost fell off because of all the twisting going on. But, I mean, what a smart play by Jed, because it distracted the founder enough that he didn't read his mind to get any more answers. And he then kind of understands. He's like, oh, well, you're only human. Of course you're going to fall in love with somebody that has superpowers. Like, whatever. And it completely distracted him away from his initial interrogation. And then he's like, well, now you're going to take care of the situation, right? And Jed's like, yeah, I will. Jed outsmarted him in that moment. It was a cool scene for Jed, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great scene. I'm a little bit surprised that it worked. I expected him to keep coming back to John in the end. So I don't know. We'll see. I assume he's just gonna let that one drop. I don't know if it's now, because John's escape was incredibly believable. Aside from the fact of how did he actually get out of the restraints? As long as the founder's not asking too many questions, which would be surprising if he didn't, then I guess we assume he just lets this one go.
I mean, John was their star pupil, so maybe he just he must have figured a way.
Yeah. True.
So in his dad's stuff, Stephen finds a data disk with videos of Professor Crick and Roger/Jack, depending on which name you want to call him by, working on the Thanatos experiments. And after 458 of those that all fail, Roger suggests an alternative method, death. But before he can get in more info, the founder and his hit squad come in and kill Crick.
Which I didn't see that coming either. Like the machine guns from outside, bam, 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 and takes him down. Like, that was unfortunate. It kind of startled me, and it's like you guys said in the opening. It just sucks that this guy dies, because he had a lot of information that could have helped Steven understand his dad even more. It could have helped a lot of things, but what it ends up doing is giving Steven the bad idea of, I need to try to kill myself so I can speak to my dad. Oof.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was pretty crazy. I didn't see that coming either. I was a little bit sad about it, but at the same time, I do feel like this character has kind of run its course of usefulness. So,
yeah.
While I'm sad about the choice, I don't hate it, because it makes sense either. It made sense either way. Whether he disappeared or they kill him, it's kind of the same thing. Yeah. It's just meant to be a cameo, so.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
So back at the lair, John finally comes clean to Kara, and she takes it as well as we suspected she was going to take it.
Surprisingly better than I thought she would, but does that push her more towards Steven now, because John keeps lying to her? I mean, she does say later in the episode, when she's working on the exchange, she says, Alex, I'll trade you Morgan, or give me the thing that I love, and I just might give you back the thing that you love. So I'm just wondering, is this pushing her and John farther apart, the fact that he keeps lying to her? Because her reaction wasn't as harsh as I thought it would be. She just kind of like, yeah, okay, we'll come back to that.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because there's definitely like a connection between her and Steven. You know, there's definitely a connection, a clear connection there. And so it's like, you know, do you want to explore that, or do you, you know, remain loyal to the person you've been with for the last however many years? I would assume most of the time that they've, you know, been together down there, they've, you know, been a couple, been together. And, you know, and she's upset because she knows he's always, you know, holding back from her. Although at this point, I don't really think he has any more secrets to hide. Although maybe I'm wrong. So, you know, I feel like this can go one of two ways. Either she's so hurt that he lied to her for all of these years that she's ready to be done with the relationship, or now that he's finally come clean with the whole truth, he doesn't have to hold back anymore. So maybe he might be with her as she, like, all the way, as she puts it.
Yeah,
maybe
it's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
Funny note, I totally forgot to throw this in notes. Have you noticed, just as a wardrobe nod, that Steven's entire wardrobe is always a hooded shirt of some kind, just like the one behind you, Harley? Every shirt he has is hooded, whether it's a sweater or a t-shirt. I'm like, that, I guess that must have been the style back then. Like, cool to have a hood.
It absolutely was.
Nobody else does. It's just him.
It was well, he's supposed to be the teenager of the group, right?
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Yeah.
So Steven, like, he wants to be killed so he can bring his dad back, and John's like, listen, dude, I read your dad's mind. There was no, like, thoughts about that as he was dying. And Kara says, listen, it was just a vision. And Steven says, like, you're calling me the chosen one. Am I one or not? And so kind of throwing it back in their faces.
And this calls back to what I said earlier. Like, they haven't experienced what he experienced. So they can't stop time. They just don't get it. They just haven't been able to accept it at this point. I think he has to. Well, I mean, the way this episode ends, he witnesses something, and I think that's finally going to get them to buy into this whole idea of killing himself. It's just that they just can't see what he's trying to explain to them.
Yeah, this will come back. I think this might be my favorite scene.
Yeah. So Steven holds a party and invites Astrid and the Breakouts over to be there and meet with his mom. And, you know, we see his intent as things go along, but I thought this was an interesting way of kind of introducing Astrid to his friends and getting the mom involved, and it was just an interesting way of going about things.
Well, sneak preview, this is what I ended up going with for my favorite scene, but I'll talk a little bit about it here. I mean, amid all the tense situations happening, I actually found this scene to be such a fun moment. I love Astrid here. She's smart, she's witty, and I think the actress is really, really good. She deserves more screen time than she's getting on this show. I really like how she presents herself. I like her scenes and her friendship with Steven. It's so strong and so believable that they really are best friends for, like, their entire childhood, pretty much. I like them together on screen. There's such good chemistry between them, and I just really enjoyed the party moments, and then I enjoyed the scene where it's just the two of them in their bedroom. There's a lot going on here, including Astrid flirting with John a little bit. I mean, just fun stuff.
I thought that was funny, and I think our love quadrilateral is back in place. I think it would be hysterical if at the end of this, Astrid ends up with John and Steven ends up with Kara. That would just make me laugh. So we'll have to see what happens. But I did find that funny. But all that aside, I liked these scenes as well. I mean, I love the Steven Astrid relationship. I feel like they have really good chemistry as actors together. And so it's just kind of like a very believable best friendship. And I mean, you can tell that they love each other, but maybe not in the relationshipy way, at least not on Steven's side. So I always appreciate when she gets to be showcased a little bit because I like that actress a lot. I think she does a really great job.
Yeah.
So Astrid knows it's not what he's doing. It's not like Steven. And so she brings this up to him later. And she sees right through him and sees that this is like a goodbye party. Yep. And, they're playing out the whole Messiah trope with Steven in this episode. Like, he says that I'm the chosen one. We talked about the Matrix type stuff, but like he basically quotes Jesus to her saying, where I'm going, you can't come with me, but I promise I'll be back, which is like basically what Jesus told the disciples before he died. Like, you can't come with me, but I'm coming back. So like, so it's an interesting way of like putting her off, but like, yeah, exactly. Letting her know like he's got the confidence that he's going to be back.
Yeah, and just as a respectful counter, because we have different backgrounds, X-Ford. So my idea, the way that scene came across to me, I was feeling, because we've talked about Star Wars so much here, I was totally feeling the Anakin vibe. Like, I'm the chosen one. I felt Steven was getting a little bit cocky in this episode. Like, I'm the chosen one. What do you mean? Because it felt to me very Anakin. And in that scene, the way I saw it is that Astrid doesn't know the plan. He's going to kill himself so he can hopefully speak to his dad, but he can't tell her that because he doesn't want her to freak out because he knows she'll want to be there when he does it. You can't kill yourself. We know she'll freak out, and so he wants her to stay away from all that danger. And that's what I got from the scene is like, I got to kill myself to speak to my dad, and that's why you can't come with me. I can't take you. I'm not going to kill you too and then try to bring us both back. So it's interesting that we both got different reactions to that moment on his bed, basically. So cool. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of agree. I feel like everybody's going to take it in different ways. I mean, I was kind of the same with you, Flash. I liked the scene, like for what it was. Like he's trying to protect her. And he's recognizing he can't take anybody with him, like for what he's trying to do. And so I thought that was really interesting. But I mean, I guess he seems to have a lot of faith in his abilities. I think cocky has been a very good way to describe it. He's like, yeah, no, it's fine. I've got this. I'll be back. Like maybe not like that, but I was like, okay. All right. Well, I hope so. Also knowing that in the mid-season finale, they're not going to kill off Robbie Amell's character.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a big twist. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
It was still very tense, I will say.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love that whole sequence. That's why it ended up being my favorite scene. So we'll hear it again, and then we can dive into it a little bit more.
Yeah, and so John kind of questions him on this, and basically we get the reasoning that Steven introduced his mom to the group so that they could take care of her if something happened and she wouldn't feel abandoned like she was with her husband, his dad. And it's all about keeping her safe and like we said earlier, putting these two groups together because he cares about both, and he's tired of kind of keeping them separate. So,
and this is a cool growing moment for Steven. Like he's being the good son. Protect my mom. She means everything to me, and my little brother. And but I've got this new family. So if I merge them, they'll look out for each other if something happens to me. It just was a nice moment for Steven to kind of show that this is what he's worried about, and he's trying to make sure everybody's going to be okay if his idea doesn't work the way he wants it to.
Yeah, that's true. I did kind of like the merging of the worlds. I definitely think it's all going to come out before the end of the series for sure. I mean, I already think that the mom already knows more than she's letting on. So I will not be maybe like terribly shocked when that reveal comes, but I am kind of waiting for it. I mean, I'm curious about the brother. I wonder if the brother is going to be a breakout.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't see him. He wasn't really there, was he?
No. So, we have 13 more episodes, and they cover ground pretty quick.
Well, and again, on the point about merging his two lives, like, again, that this show isn't. I like that they did it. We're 8 episodes in. We've seen him live the double life up to this point. Now he's brought them together, and we might not get so much separation anymore. I mean, his mom still doesn't know who these people really are, but she knows who's important to him and who's in his life now. And I like that they're not keeping that stuff away anymore,
Yeah.
or keeping it separated. I mean,
So getting back to Jed, so he's sent Morgan a message, and she teleports back to her place, and Jed's there. So after they enjoy some romance, he kills her, and I was just like, "What?"
Yeah.
I did not remember this at all. I was just like,
Oh.
"What? What's going on here?"
Well,
Yes.
I mean, did that shock all of us? Because for me, it shocked me. Oh my God. Okay, here they were leading us to believe that Jed is turning to the good side, and the founder asks him to take care of it. And what does he do? He's like, he puts Ultra above everything else again, like we've seen up to this point, and he kills her. And that made me go, oh crap. You guys fooled me. I thought Jed was turning, and he didn't. He just killed the woman he loved. He's fully an ultra lead man, whatever you want to call that. It's just like, oh my God. I can't believe it. I can't believe they got me thinking he was going to be good, because he's not. You big, villain.
I had the same reaction. I was shocked. I think my jaw was literally on the floor. I was like, no, he didn't. He couldn't do that. How did he kill her? I was so shocked. So I was pleasantly surprised when we find out the truth.
Yes.
So he goes back to Ultra, and he lets the founder read him. And then the founder gives him this warning, and he says, listen, I'm keeping you around because of Steven. And he says they are grooming him for his ultimate purpose.
Dun, dun, dun. I really need that sound effect, because scary moment. His ultimate purpose. New mystery presented right there in that scene. I mean, this show is spot on with its writing for the story, because like you just said, Harley, how fast they keep moving along with the pace. They're at breakneck speeds, and yet they're not losing us. They keep us hanging on, mystery after mystery, and boom, they drop this bomb right here. Ultimate purpose for Steven. What the heck could that be?
There's definitely something much bigger at play.
I mean, here's
it is.
The hook, line, and sinker, and they're reeling us back in. Like, oh my God, okay, I'm here for the next half of the season. What did you guys just lay on us? Cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's definitely true. We need to know what the purpose is. I think it's got something to do either with limbo or time travel or both. That's just where I'm leaning after the heavy focus on it this episode. I feel like there's got to be more to that than just getting Steven's dad back.
But didn't they just fed you the bait? Did we all just bite on it and we're in?
There's that then. I mean, just like the bait, that Jed killed Morgan, and that what's his face was going to retire. I mean, yeah, all the things.
Yeah. So good writing, man. Such good writing.
Yeah. Definitely. So, but this is where we find out that Jed faked the killing to truly set Morgan free.
And I loved how they presented it to us. It was so cool that it's a mind-reading flash from Kara to see what Morgan saw, because we know Jed had to cover it up, so the Founder couldn't see it. So we see it through Morgan's eyes because she's dead. No one else is going to read her. And we get that moment that Jed really is going against Ultra to save Morgan. And again, we're just like, you got me twice with the Jed story. Holy crap.
Yeah, when Kara walks into the room and she's sitting there and she's like, "Oh, you're not dead," and I was like, "What? You're not dead?" I was equal parts shocked and relieved, and like, what just happened? So,
yeah,
it was good.
Yeah, way to go.
I didn't see it coming, not at all. I 100% thought she was dead.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and hating Jed all at the same time, like you.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, a solid 10 minutes. I hated him more, even more.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, the group there is all working together to kill Steven, monitor him, and bring him back. So yeah, they finally agreed to it. So.
Okay, this whole sequence was crazy. Like, I don't know if you guys saw. Did you ever see the movie Flatliners with Kiefer Sutherland and Julia Roberts and Christian? That's what this was, totally. Because that movie was all about they wanted to kill themselves temporarily to talk to the other side and see what's on the other side. Like, is there life after death? And they ended up bringing back ghosts and all this crazy stuff. It's a good movie if you guys never saw it.
Yeah,
it's good.
This reminded me of it totally, and that was equally freaky and intense. This was an intense moment because they don't know what they're doing. They're not doctors, but they're going to inject a type of drug to put Steven into a slow dying whatever phase, and he does die, and now they're waiting. Kara's like, I gotta revive him. No, don't revive him yet. More time, and just like, oh my god, it's scary. It's freaky.
I agree. It was a very intense scene. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time, even though in the back of my head, they can't kill this character. But still, like, they had me going. Like, they kept it going for a while. It's like, no, they can't kill this character.
Yeah.
Well, we've heard Abby telling us that she thinks John and Kara should be the main characters, so maybe they could have killed them, I guess, but
true.
So Kara loses him, and they can't bring him back, but he brings himself back, and then he says immediately that he saw his dad, but they need to find his body. And I'm like, okay.
What? I mean, first of all, I thought it was cool. Kara was staying telepathically connected to him, but when she loses connection, you're like, and she's like, I can't find him. He's not even there. Like, he's not even in his body. He's not here. It's just a body, and you're thinking, whoa, that's crazy cool and freaky all at once. Like, where did he go? Like, his entire psychic persona is gone from his body. If she can't even feel him or read him, that's crazy. So that's a bit of a mystery, but the big mystery number 2 here that they present is that, I mean, we knew Steven was going to die there, and like you said, it was really intense, and these type of scenes always are, but we didn't get to hear what it was he saw. He just wakes up and says, I saw my dad. We didn't get to get the visualization of what he saw. So why do they need to go find the body? Like, and your mind just starts racing. What does that mean? Does his dad teleport his mind out of his body, and now he needs his body to be able to jump telepathically, teleportingly back into his body? Like, is that what they're trying to tell us there? Like, I froze time while I was teleporting, and what that ended up doing is it made me mentally teleport out of my body. Like, talk about out-of-body experience. So now he needs his body. He needs his body to be able to teleport back into it. That's kind of how I pieced it together. But, bam! What another crazy science mystery.
Yeah, I mean, it raises a ton of questions. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because like his dad was shot. So like, how do you, like, if you bring him back, like, do you have to like fix his body first so that like he doesn't come back and just immediately die? Because I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it raises a lot of questions that if we think too hard about, it's not going to work. Although I think I theorized, I don't know if it may have been in the last episode that they had his body on ice somewhere, that Ultra had it. That there was another connection there. So I think he's, in typical sci-fi fashion, probably been like, cryo frozen or whatever that term is. And so they'll find a way around it. His body is magically healed and it's been preserved all this time, and so he can just very conveniently come back into it through some. I'm assuming that Steven is going to have to go back and bring him back. You know what I mean?
Seems
so
like that, yeah.
If they have the bodies like together in the same room, that he can bring him with him, and then they'll both wake up at the same time. So, because I think the moment that Kara loses him, because we get a lot of visual cues of like that made it seem like, we could see when like time was stopping, but it doesn't really change from their perspective. Like, who knows how much time passed for Steven while he was in limbo. Yeah, but I think the moment Kara says he's gone, like, I can't reach him, like, to me that was confirmation that he had made it into limbo and that's where he was. And so then they had to figure out how to pull him out, and I'm not sure if it was a combination of like the adrenaline or their connection or what it was that ultimately ends up like pulling him out, or if it was simply like he's just like, okay, I finished my errand and I'm coming back. Like, how did he get back? I definitely have that question for sure.
Yeah. But I like how you brought up, like, where is his dad's body? Because obviously if it's been years, his body would be decayed and decrepit now. Like, you don't want to be jumping back into that body, or you truly will be a zombie walking. Like, so where is the body? Like, what happened after John shot him? Where did the body go? Did John take the body and hide it somewhere? Because
I assume, he was working for Ultra. Either John has it somewhere or Ultra has it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not going to talk because I know.
Oh, do you? I can't remember at all.
You remember? Yeah. Okay.
That's one of the few things I remember.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, really, really good discussion tonight. Excellent points, X-Force, and glad you're back. And I think, this was a fun episode, and I think we had a good talk about it. Let's pause for an ad break, and we'll come back with favorite scenes.
Shape out an eagle!
All right. Let's go with Jeff, and your scene is first.
Yeah, I called this one Steven's Hope, so let's take a listen.
Why'd you do it, John? They told me it had to be done, that your father had gone off the reservation. Jedediah said he had become a danger to us all. So you blew him up? You really want to hear this? I have to know. I set a bomb in his car, and I waited. He wanted me to think that I had killed him, but he teleported out at the last moment. I followed him. That's when I caught up with your father. And I shot him. I didn't want to, Stephen.
All these years you've been telling your own people that my father could return at any moment when you knew you'd put a bullet in him?
If I could take it all back, I would.
Well, you can't. You're a fraud, John.
And now you can go back and tell Kara and everyone else the truth.
No, it's not my job to tell Kara you lied. That'd be too easy. But for now, we're gonna forget the fact that you tried to kill my father.
Why?
Because Thanatos is real. My father's alive, and he is out there, I'm sure of it. Now I'm gonna get you the hell out of here.
This show is really good at leaving you with a fantastic opening scene leading into the title sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. I really, like we talked about before, I really, we see John is broken and resigned, but Steven is like not letting him off easy and wants his help to find his dad. So I just really appreciated the power there, of the two of them really being honest and looking forward together. So yeah,
well delivered lines too. They were really good in that. Scene.
I think it was a great scene. Very powerful way to open the episode. I loved it.
Yep. All right, Harley, your turn.
Yes, I went with a scene I'm calling "He's Not Dead Yet."
I hope I got the right moment for you. You put a timestamp here, but you didn't put a description, so I'm hoping I grabbed the right section.
It started right at the 28-minute mark, so I'm sure that you did.
Steven. What happened?
They killed him. They murdered Crick right in front of me. Why would Ultra kill Crick? Because he confirmed that there's a way for us to find my dad.
Your dad isn't in limbo, Steven. He's dead.
What do you mean dead?
There's no point in lying anymore.
Can someone please explain to me what's going on?
Later.
It didn't work because it was never going to work. Okay, but there's another way. Wherever my dad is, you can't get there by stopping time while teleporting. Limbo exists in the time between life and death. What exactly are you saying, Steven? Well, you have to try to kill me. No.
That is insane.
I was almost dead when I saw him. That's how I got there, and it's exactly what happened when you shot him. Okay, it was all part of my dad's plan. He wanted you to kill him. He needed you to so that he could stop time right at the moment of his death. All we have to do is recreate that moment. It's the only way I can bring him back. And you are the only one who can kill. Listen to me, Steven. Jedediah ordered me to kill your father. There was no plan. Roger didn't know. I saw it in his face. I read it in his mind. I held his body in my hands. So trust me when I tell you, your father is dead.
Steven, what you saw was a vision. You were hoping, like we were all hoping, that Roger was still out there, but it's not real.
You're both wrong. He is alive, and I need your help. This isn't about me. This is about all of us. The refuge is real, but we can't get there without my dad. Now, the whole reason you guys tracked me down was so that I could find him. So either you believe that I'm the chosen one, or you don't. Which is it, Car?
Ooh. It's intense, man.
Yeah.
It is really intense, but I really love this moment because I love Steven's conviction and kind of belief in himself. I mean, for better or for worse, he's kind of come around to the fact that he's the quote chosen one, the Messiah, the Savior, however you want to term it. That's, the trope that they're playing on for sure. And I like that he's gone the opposite way. Like in the beginning, again, he was like, no, my dad's not around. Like, I don't know that he ever fully believed he was dead until maybe like Jedediah showed him that video. Then I think he was thinking like, oh, he might actually be dead. And then it was like John and Kara trying to convince him. So I kind of liked like the flipping back and forth, especially now that the full truth came out. So.
And it totally sounded like Flatliners, that whole scene.
Yeah.
Of them arguing over killing each other, yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. So, and I like it. And I was leaning towards Steven's basically saying that was his dad's plan all along. And John's like, no, it wasn't. And I'm like, yeah, but I'd be willing to bet he was at least 10 steps ahead of you. Kind of the same way that Jed is 10 steps ahead of everybody else most of the time.
Yeah.
So I think it was part of the plan.
And the fact that it's only Steven and his dad can stop time. None of the others more people can.
So. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to that.
And that could be what the founder is after. He probably knows.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he wants to use Steven for something along those lines.
Yeah. He definitely has a purpose. 100%.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Question is, why'd they really kill Roger?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe, well, was he going against Ultra? I don't know.
I mean, that's true. He was. Sorry. He was definitely going against Ultra. Yeah. He was like setting all the lab fires and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to wrap it up with the fun scene. And I called this one The Party of Five, which was another TV show.
Yes.
So, how do you know Steven?
Oh, we work together. You know, splicing genes for science and whatnot.
Well, you don't look like the Research Institute type.
Oh, well, you don't look like the high school type.
Excuse me, I'm gonna steal you. Careful of this one.
Yes, I can see.
It's fun.
Well, your friends are interesting.
Aren't they?
Yeah. And they all work at your uncle's company.
No. Remember when you got angry at me about the psychic subway dwellers?
Yes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Car's here, the one who's not so secretly in love with you.
Yeah, she's actually with him.
Wow. What a troll. Yeah, I have no idea what she sees in him.
Unbelievable. Thanks for that.
No problem.
Okay, enough staring. Can I have some pizza or something?
I wasn't staring. Hey. I don't want to be nosy, but do you have any idea what's going on?
What do you mean?
Well, Steven and I have been friends for a very long time, and this whole get-together thing, it's not really like him.
You said you were smart.
Well, it was nice to finally meet the Tomorrow people.
I think my mom bought it.
Yeah. There is one part I didn't buy, though. Why? Why was it suddenly so important that the people from the two sides of your life should finally meet? What's going on? Don't say nothing. It's written all over Kara's face.
Kara, you guys comparing notes on me?
She cares about you. As do I. So what's the story?
I'm gonna try and bring my dad home.
You know where he is? How did you find him?
Doesn't matter.
Okay. How long are you gonna be gone?
I don't know.
Right. So this is like a goodbye party?
No, Astrid. It's not like that.
You're scared. Why don't you let me go with you?
Where I'm going, you can't come with me. But I promise, I'll be back.
Yeah, I don't know. I really like Astrid. She's one of my favorite side supporting characters we've had on a TV show.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, I looked up her age. So she's 2 years younger than Robbie. So she was 23
at filming.
Yeah, when filming. So
that's funny.
The whole
you don't look like the high school.
Look like
type.
the high school type.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's some inside writing there.
Yeah.
I like that they wrote that into the dialogue. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. I just liked that whole scene. I mean, it's a fun scene. Everyone coming over for dinner so Mom can meet his new co-workers amidst all the chaos and thrills. And Astra just has some really nice moments with Steven and playful. And I care about you. Kara loves you, and I love the moment where she's ripping into John. And oh yeah, what a troll! Like it's just it made this friendship so believable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. I thought it was a nice scene. Like I do like that actress as well. So it's fun to see her get some more screen time, and they do well together. I feel like the actors, her and Robbie have good chemistry. So I like the scenes when it's just the two of them. I feel like they have a very believable relationship.
Yeah, and you have her up there. Like, what else has she done? X4.
So, Madeline Mantock, she's from the UK, and so she was in the Charmed reboot that was on the CW for like 59 of the 70 some episodes. She had a small part in Edge of Tomorrow.
I bet that's where I recognize her from.
Yeah. Wow. So, and she was on the AMC show Into the Badlands.
I didn't watch that.
So,
one.
but she hasn't. I mean, she's not done anything since Charmed, like film and TV wise. She may be acting or modeling or other stuff, but that's the last credit. So.
Cool.
Nice.
Good stuff. Well, that is it for our favorite scenes. We're just going to remind you on how you can support the show.
If you'd like to support our podcast, you can do so at our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/tomorrowslegends.
If you don't dial it, we'll cry like a violin. Feedback.
All right, we got some feedback. Comic Geek Kev, as always, leads us off. When do you guys take it away?
Death's Door. Geez, the founder dude is pretty powerful. But in the fashion of the show, not long after we see what happened with John and Joger on screen.
Oh, Dodger, I bet.
Dodger, sorry. Dodger, yeah, that's how you pronounce it. Sorry.
He combined Jack and Roger. Gotcha.
And Roger.
yeah.
Dodger.
So, Dodger. So, Steven finds out it's not drawn out for 12 episodes of CW drama. Now, how long until the rest of the BO crew find out? Well, it turns out not long.
No.
But after John tells Steven, why did John apologize? Doesn't it make it seem fairly obvious that there's more of a connection between them? And right in front of Jed, the founder, there have been a couple moments like that. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, Morgan appears to be a trained fighter as well. She's not Ultra or BO. So, who taught her? Or is it just the TV way of anyone who needs to be able to do something just can? It's fine, just something I found strange.
I think I answered that one already. Jed obviously trained her to protect herself. I think.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah. I had totally forgotten that Jed thought Kara was depowered, but it takes him down the path of figuring out what Steven is really doing. About time on that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
John's breakout was well planned for being so quickly devised, and a nice little action sequence.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't Steven say there were D-chips on the floor? And then John shot out 2 in the ceiling and was able to port out? What did I miss? Maybe different setups in different parts of the building for some reason?
I don't recall him saying D-chips in the floor. I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure.
I know Steven gave him the locations. He's 10 and 2 or whatever, 11 and whatever, so John could shoot him out. But
My name is Steven James.
Yeah. Sorry if that just interrupted. I'm gonna look at it while you continue reading.
Sure. Big Mama is back, and she knows about Thanatos, or at least the name. And Steven read her mind? And that's all he got? Well, I think we kind of brought up what he's trying to do. After John tells Kara about killing Dodger, I think he's got some nerve comparing his big secrets with her little fling with Steven. Such a dude thing to do.
Right? So true.
Yeah. I had no idea what John and Steven were going to do when they were porting around the lair. I thought they were stuck there. But I guess trying to find Limbo, again, people, the names, makes more sense. It seems pretty rude that the BOs are just randomly pop up in people's living spaces. How about a phone call? Or at least outside the door, knock. And then, of course, the meeting with Crick results in him getting shot. It seems to be quite a jump for Steven to conclude that Dodger had a plan to get assassinated to reach Limbo. Sometimes characters reach conclusions that they literally would never be able to, aside from the fact someone is writing for them. For him to conclude that Dodger reached Limbo after being shot, okay, to deduce he got killed on purpose seems like a stretch. I love that Marla is so excited that Steven is going to have non-Astrid friends over. But it feels like a family with 2 teenagers would have more food in their fridge. Maybe not enough for a party, but that looked like a bottle of salad dressing with no label. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Mom works all the time, so maybe she didn't get to go grocery shopping yet.
That's true. She works a lot of night shifts, I think.
Yeah.
But going back to his last point, though, about concluding about having to kill yourself to get to Limbo and all that, I mean, you have to remember, Steven saw Limbo when he was drowning and dying in the water, so I think he used all of the information that he's already experienced to kind of piece it together a little bit. I'm okay with it. I think it makes sense that he would connect the dots that way because he kind of experienced it already.
I think so. I agree.
So a BO house party looks fun, but the pizza looked awful.
I do not like this short thing. I like TP better.
Yeah.
Oh, the BO part, you mean?
Yeah.
Breakouts. Yeah. Anyway,
it's just funny.
I gotta find the pizza. I don't know. Let me see if.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
I love that Astrid pointed out that this gathering wasn't normal and that there was something else going on. Not bad for a yesterday person. I like that yesterday person.
That's pretty funny.
Jed kills Morgan, and in such an old school way, smells immediately like a scam, which it was. So he saw through that. Yeah. But I always find it funny that when people have their minds, quote unquote, read in TV and movies, their memories are almost always the scenes that were originally filmed. Wouldn't they be the scenes, quote unquote, scenes from the person's point of view? Yeah. Not the cameras.
The one with Morgan bothered me. I feel like we at least cut to Jed's point of view, but we never cut to Morgan's point of view. It's just the same footage with a little extra that Jed.
I mean, yes, we agree. It makes sense. You should see it through the character's eyes of what they're remembering, but I just don't. I think it's too complicated to try to film that. And
100%.
Yeah, it is, but it's been done. I mean, we've seen other things through people's eyes.
True.
So I think they can do it. It's just, instead of showing Jed in the scene, you see him, the camera is his eyes, going down and shoot. So it can be done. But anyway, so Jed not having his mind read, just a memory of that moment, not the planning, like Harley brought up. Bit of a plot hole, in my opinion. The whole telepathy thing is a hit and miss, just being what they need it to be. The quote-unquote death scene was pretty good. Writing, performances, the drama of it all. Nicely done. But we didn't get to see what he saw. Nice cliffhanger and a good use for the title sequence of the episode. I give this one 8.5 out of 10 frozen pizza slices. Until next time, Comic Geek Kev.
Good as always, Kev. I got to the pizza scene real quick, and it just looks like the stuff you'd go buy in the Walmart freezer that you heat up yourself kind of thing. It looked like pretty cheap pizza. So I get what he was saying. But I got to the clip where Steven is breaking them out. I just have to, because I didn't want to interrupt you reading it. I think it might play, the volume might play. So I'm just going to run it through. Let me just see if he says something about shoot out the floor. So 1 second here.
Where he dies! I said back off! Unless your boss wants to lose a nephew.
Yeah? Your kind can't kill.
Want to bet? I aim for your vest, but the next one's in your face.
Hold your fire! You know there's no way out of here. Your powers don't work now, John. Let the kid go.
D-Chip's 11-1.
I can't see it. All he says is there's D-Chips at 11-1, meaning the position's on the clock. He didn't say anything about the floor or anything, so.
Okay.
There you go. Hope that helps you feel better. All right. Next up is a voicemail from Perry White.
Hey, Breakouts. Perry here after watching Steven knocking on heaven's door. Wait, I got feedback for death's door, but it feels about the same. So I am a big fan of the OG movie Flatliners that came out in like 1990, where it's basically a group of kids. When I say kids, they were basically college kids, cheating death and going through these incredible experiences post-death. And I know we saw Steven come close to death once, but it would have been really cool to see him sort of experience what death was like this time around. Maybe we'll see that in the next episode or so. All right. I will say this. One of the things that I thought was interesting about this episode was I honestly thought that there was going to be more of a nuclear fallout once John revealed to Kara that he killed Jack, essentially the Tomorrow People Messiah. Obviously she was incredibly floored by the revelation, but I just thought it was going to be a little bit more. I also thought that they were going to bring in sort of the rest of the Tomorrow People to sort of see how this bit of news landed. Maybe that will be in the next episode or two also, but I think it's going to be important to see how the rest of the Tomorrow People who've been down in this bunker, who have been basically fed some fraudulent stories by John, to see how they respond to him essentially killing their Messiah. Next episode or two, I suspect we'll probably get that story. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was Jedediah, right? So from the very beginning, he's been an incredibly masterful, like top tier A1 type villain from the very freaking start, right?
Yep.
But obviously they are taking steps to sort of give him nuance, and they're taking some steps to soften him up a little bit. And I'm kind of sort of feeling vibes like I did with Legends of Tomorrow when they did sort of the same approach with Hank Haywood. And if we all remember, that really didn't work so well for Legends. But I think the problem that I have here is by softening up Jed, it feels like they're doing that to sort of prop up the bigger bad villain who is the Founder. It just, to me, obviously without knowing much about the Founder yet, and obviously haven't spent all this time with Jedediah, the Founder just feels like a mustache twirling type of villain right now. And quite honestly, I would rather have seen Jedediah remain sort of the top tier villain as opposed to being sort of feeling like he's middle management villainy right about now. But I guess we'll see how this goes. Anyway, I hope this doesn't sound like I am down on this episode, because I am not. I have not given ratings for any of these episodes that I recall, and I'm not necessarily going to start here, but I enjoyed the episode well enough. I think that there was a lot of setup, obviously, for what is to come in the next handful of episodes as we go toward the finale. So this episode felt more like, hey, these are the things that we have to put in place to get to where we want, and that's absolutely fine. Anyway, this has been Perry White. making another deadline, continuing to chronicle the adventures of the breakouts for our fine readers with the Daily Planet. And I've got this just in time for Father's Day, so that's cool too. Anyway, I'm out.
Yes, you did. And he was in tune with almost everything we were saying this episode. So cool stuff, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good.
Right in tune. I'm glad, because last week he was a little bit not sure. This week he was definitely more sounding like he enjoyed it.
Yep.
Yeah. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff always. Thanks for sending that in. If you would like to join the show and get your thoughts in, I mean, you still have time to catch up on the Tomorrow People. That was only episode 8 or episode 9. We got time. We're not even halfway yet. So
exactly.
Check it out. It's a fun show. Trust us. Listen to us. It's fun. Even though it's 10 years old, you'll enjoy it. Send us some feedback.
If you would like to be a part of the show, you can send in your feedback to Tomorrow's Legends Podcast at gmail.com. You can also reach us on Twitter at Tomorrow's Legends. We'd love you to join our Facebook page at facebook.com/groups/Tomorrow's Legends and become part of the community.
Yeah, so get in on some Tomorrow People action, and stuff is happening. Summer's coming, but we're going to be here for a while doing this show. So our summer forecast is Tomorrow People all the way through.
Yeah.
There may be a break in it for me. We have to look at the schedule, but July 26th July 19th to 26th, I will not be around. So we'll have to look at the schedule for that and figure things out. But I mean, you guys can obviously go ahead and do one without me. I am busy competing on a TV show. Just a little hint there. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Survivor. Well, I got myself onto a small Canadian variant of that, so very exciting stuff. I can't really say too much more at the moment, but I'm gonna be on for a week competing on a reality TV show. So yay for Flash. See if I can outwit and outplay and outlast them, as the saying goes. It's a condensed version of the show, 6 days, 7 nights or something like that, but yeah, we'll see. Look forward to that.
Cool.
Very fun.
Yeah, and we'll have a break the week of Canada Day / July 4th as well. So we'll have a show on the we won't record on the 5th. So we'll have a 1 week there. But yeah, so
nice,
awesome stuff. Well, there you go, guys. So check out Dive Into DC. Check out the Mandalore podcast, and check out our X-Men coverage as well if you haven't watched X-Men yet, because we got that interview coming out soon as I'm done editing it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. We'll be back at you next week. This is The Flash signing off.
This is Harley Quinn. I'm out.
This is X-Force 11. So say we all.
Gideon, where were you? Like, you weren't with us during that entire show.
Negative, Captain.
Well, can you get your ass to the bridge? We need you up here.
Right away, Captain.
Tomorrow's Legends is not affiliated with CBS, Warner Brothers, HBO, or the CW. We're a fan-made podcast for entertainment purposes only and are part of the Cybercast network. Be sure to check out our partner shows, The Mandalore and Dive Into DC, covering your favorite Star Wars and DC Comics properties. Thanks for listening.